Hello guys. First I want to apologize for not being here to do this presentation and to get to answer your question and have interaction with you about this topic. However, I thought the minimum would be to do this pre-recorded presentation, and I hope we'll get the chance to discuss it later in the next session. What is it about? It's about our brain, the most powerful computer on Earth, and yet we're not using it at its maximum capacity. Maybe it's possible, maybe not, but one thing is sure, we can optimize its potential and improve the way it's functioning. For that, we have a lot of scientific research and materials, but also we have manual, like a cheat code to help us to understand the why, and how it works under the hood. Book Brain Rule, the author, John Medina, listed and explained 12 rules we need to know to make the most of your brain. I won't be able to explain in details each rule, but I will go over them and talk briefly about those rules. And I hope it will inspire you or encourage you to buy the book and read it. So let's get started. The first rule: exercise boosts brain power. We all know how exercise is good for our body. We are fitter, healthier, and our immunity is boosted. However, did you know that exercising is even greater for our brain? The answer is yes, and so as the author says, to improve your thinking skills, move and exercise before you need your brain at its best. Second rule: the human brain evolved too. In fact, we have 3 brains, not just one. And those brains has evolved through time to help us to adapt to changes. Third rule is about wiring. And what's good to know is that the human brain is partially constructed at birth, and it continues to grow and to develop through our first 20 years, with some subtle changes extending into our 40s. And this development is happening while we're learning, but at different rates for each of us. So our experiences don't just change our brains, but literally rewire them. Fourth rule: people don't pay attention to boring things. Moreover, what we also learn here is that multitasking is a myth. It has been proven scientifically. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. Fifth rule: repeat to remember. We are talking here about short-term memory. You can raise the chances to remember something learned by repeating it several times, and that's why students, for example, need to be reminded by the teacher of the new materials every few weeks to truly learn it. But you can also raise those chances by reproducing the environment in which you first has learned it. For example, if you learned something being sad, you will remember it better if you get sad again. Sixth rule: remember to repeat. In this rule, it's about the long-term memory. And I will quote the author: our brains give us only an approximate view of reality, because they mix new knowledge with past memories and store them together as one. Rule number 7: sleep well, think well. And what's great about this chapter is to have confirmation that there really are early birds and night owls, but also to know that sleep loss has the same negative effect on our cognitive activity as alcohol. You have a natural sleep cycle that is individual to you. Follow it and you'll feel and think better. Rule number 8 is about stress. In fact, our system isn't designed for constant stress. The brain is built to deal with stress that lasts 30 seconds, no more. Long-term stress harms every cognitive ability. People suffering from chronic stress can't do math, have problems concentrating, struggle with memory, and their executive function is poor. And I mean by that, self-control and problem solving. Rule number 9, stimulate more of the senses at the same time. We remember data from each of our senses, and we learn best if we stimulate multiple senses at the same time. You will remember better if you see and hear something, or even if given words and pictures at the same time. Rule number 10 is about vision. Yes, we learn better if we trigger multiple senses, but vision is a powerful sense and has much stronger influence on our perception than any other sense. Therefore, when people listen to information, they only recall or remember about 10% of it after 3 days. And yet, if there is an image or picture with the spoken information, people will remember 65% of this information after the same period. Rule number 11 is about gender. And regardless of political or ethical questions of gender equality, the differences between man and woman brain are very real, and it's a mistake to presume that their brains work the same way. So in this section, you'll understand how the two brains are different and how we can benefit from both approaches. Last rule is we are powerful and natural explorers. The first good news here is that it has been proven that we are never too old to learn or to master a new skill. The second good news is the human being take a lot of pleasure in exploring and testing things around. And since it's the best way to learn new things, go out there, go into the world and experiment and try something new. So our brain is a very sophisticated system, and we can optimize it and maximize our intellectual potential by understanding better how it works, and that's the very purpose of this book. So I really hope that you'll get the book and you'll read it to benefit from each idea and the tips given by the author. If you have any question, feel free to send them in the WhatsApp group, and I hope we'll meet each other soon. Thank you very much for your attention, and Ramadan Mubarak Kareem.